So this first video won't go into any of the new bells and whistles of your Igniter 3. This will just be a basic set of operations, some do's and don'ts, just to help you enjoy this lightsaber as long as you can. So we'll get right to it and check the bottom out. This first set screw right here is responsible for holding the chassis in place. It's already been tightened. You shouldn't have to touch it. In the event it does loosen, you'll want to be careful while tightening it so you don't do any damage to the chassis itself, but right now everything's good to go. It's not a concern. This next point right here is your auxiliary switch. You can probably hear it clicking on the video. It's not doing anything now because the kill key is installed. This set screw right here is very important. This is what keeps the grenade section locked into place. You'll want to make sure that this screw is completely tightened before you insert the blade, while the blade is inserted. While the blade is installed, you don't want this grenade section to rotate because that can damage the NeoPixel connector inside. The other way around, if you want to take the grenade off to reveal the crystal, the blade has to be removed first. The blade retention screw is in the same location as before, but I've replaced it with a much longer one to take advantage of all the metal that is in this emitter. As far as how far it needs to come out for the blade to go in and out, it's very simple. As long as just the slightest bit is raised outside the emitter, you can see the bump, you can feel the bump. That's it. There's clearance, the blade's ready to go in and out. You don't have to worry about completely removing and losing the screw. Before I go ahead and insert the blade, just a reminder that all the NeoPixels in the hilt, the one in the crystal, the 3 in the connector, all operate without the blade installed. Now, while the resistor on the data line prevents any voltage spikes from damaging your NeoPixels, it is still best practice to insert the kill key before inserting or removing the blade. Now, the base of the blade has a small mark made with a black Sharpie. It's on a beveled portion of the blade, so it won't rub off while you're inserting or removing the blade. And this is just to help you with registering the connector. Just the rule of thumb is you'll want to line up this black mark at the bottom of the blade with the blade retention screw. And this way you don't have to try and see the very faint mark left by the screw. You just slide the blade directly in. You don't want to twist it. The tolerance is just so that the blade will fit snugly but will slip straight in. It pulls straight out. Again, no twisting. So line up that mark, push gently straight in, remove the kill key. For this video, I'm not tightening the emitter screw, but you'll want to do that for any vigorous swinging. Everything functioning as it should. And again, kill key before removing the blade. Now, if you want access to the SD card, we'll first unscrew the pommel. the speaker will come out without too much fuss. Try and get this all in view of the camera. It's difficult to catch on camera, but if you're looking at it in person, in that section between the board and the battery, just under those 3 yellow capacitors, you can see the SD card. I'll have to do this off camera just so I can focus, but you'll basically take something that doesn't conduct electricity. I'm just using a bamboo skewer. Push in on the SD card. It'll release just enough. And then you'll want something that can grip it. I like, those pliers. And the SD card comes right out. Once it's ejected, there's really nothing that you have to worry about bumping into. As long as you're cautious, you'll hit the chassis or the insulated portion of the battery before you touch anything on the board. So pop this in your computer, make the changes you need. When reinserting, you'll just see the batteries on the bottom, boards on top. You'll just want to make sure you insert the SD card with the connectors facing up toward the board. And then just a gentle push. And of course, for the demonstration, the SD card goes flying. At this point, you really can just put it in with your finger. You can rest it along the chassis on the bottom and you won't even touch the board, just press it in with your finger now. When putting the speaker back into place, just turn it a few times to coil the wire so you're not pinching it against the spacer. When you're screwing the pommel back into place, be slow and gentle. You shouldn't have to force it. Everything is precision fit. If it doesn't close, that means you're pinching a wire. Boot sound means you're good to go.